Okay. Now, so what is the structure of C program, right? The first thing we always write in our program is preprocessor directives. Okay, preprocessor directives, right? After that, we will come across with declarations, global declarations, right? And then function prototypes, right? Okay, let's keep it this way and then we will go in detail. Then comes his main function. Inside this, local declarations, right? And set of statements and then return 0, right? And then user defined functions. So it will have a parameter definition, right? And a body of the function. Okay, I'll just give you a small rough idea here. So this is the basic syntax of any, right, C program. So you can have any number of user defined functions. So user defined functions you can write 1 2 3 4 5 based on your requirement. So this is the basic outline of any program. There is no rule that everything must be present. ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಇರಲೇಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. So there is nothing like everything must be present, right? So let us understand one by one part what exactly these are. Okay, let us understand one by one what exactly these are. Okay, let's go for this and start understanding one by one. So the first one is preprocessor directives. Now, if you look at this, it already says that it's a pre-processing, pre-processor directive. Okay, so pre-processor directives means the statements which start with the statements which starts with which starts with hash symbol. The statements which starts with hash symbol, right? There are certain points we need to understand here. These are instructions to compiler, instructions to compiler, instructions to compiler. Okay, these are instructions to compiler. Okay, and next, right, these are executed executed during, right, during, these are executed during compile time, right? Now these are executed during compile time. One second guys, one second, somebody has come at a door and nobody's at home. Now let's continue. So first of all, what we need to understand is there are two times, right? If you take any like program in C language, there are two times will come into, or two process will come into picture. One is compile time and another one is runtime, right? Or these processes are called as compilation. These are called as compilation and execution. First, we need to understand these two things before we continue with our content. Okay. So, what is the meaning of compilation? What is the meaning of compilation here? Let's understand. Now, see, first we need to look at how does a machine, or what does the machine will understand. See, humans, there is something called as humans. Okay, and there is something called as a machine, right? there is something called as a machine. Okay, there is something called as a machine. Now humans can understand English, right? But do you think machines can they understand English? Do you think machines can they understand English? Do you think that machines can they understand English or Kannada or Hindi, anything what humans are speaking, right? Definitely no. Correct? Definitely no. So what happens is whatever user is writing, it is called as high level language. High level language, it is called as high level language. And the machine can understand only binary form, binary data. Machine can understand only binary data. So this binary data is called as low level language. It is called as low level language. It is called as low level language. So, whenever a user writes a program, whenever a user writes a program, he will write it in high level language. Now, which machine cannot understand. Now, that high level language code needs to be converted to low level language, right? So, this process is called as compilation, right? This process is called as compilation. Now, if you want to understand the statement here, right, it's a process to convert high level high level language to low level low level language. Now basically in this one, all these computation like addition, subtraction, multiplication, nothing will happen in the compilation process, only converting from high level to low level human written language to the machine understandable language. That conversion happens during compilation. So basically all the preprocessor directives are executed during compilation process. Okay, and what is the meaning of execution? Execution means running a code, running code, right? Means here what we will happen is computational task will happen, computational task will occur during this time. What is the meaning of computational task? Computational task means the logics what you have built, the logics what you have built, for example, right, addition, subtraction, multiplication, logical operations, condition checking, right, loop execution, all these things computational part will occur during runtime, right? And that process is called as execution, where you will execute a program and give input and you will get the output, right? You will get the output. So this is called as, right, execution. This process is called as execution, right? Are you getting my point? Okay, now once you understand this, I hope you are clear with what is compilation and what is execution, right? So if you are clear with this, then I'll go with the next step, examples of preprocessor directives. Okay, can we go ahead with that? Examples of preprocessor directives. So in preprocessor directives, there are two basic preprocessor directives everybody should understand, right? One is hash include. This is the first one that we need to understand. Hash include. So what is this hash include, right? Basically it is used it is used to include files, right? Right, it is used to include files or a file, right? There are two syntaxes. First one is hash include. You can write this hash include in two ways. The first syntax is angular bracket. Okay, first syntax is angular bracket, and the second one is hash include double quote, right? You can write it in double quote. These are the two ways of writing hash include. Okay, so basically the first hash include, the first syntax what we have, right? It is used for including predefined, including predefined files, predefined files. Okay, for example, stdio.h, comma, math.h, right, comma, stdlib.h, like that. You can go on including predefined files. Now these predefined files, right, these predefined files, you can include them using the first syntax, using the first syntax. Now if you go with the second syntax, in the second syntax what happens is it is used for including user defined files, user defined files, user defined files, right? Means user can create his own header files. He can create his own header files, right? And the files which you are seeing .h, .h extension files are called as header files. .h extension files are called as header files. Okay, .h extension files are called as header files. Now many first year students will have that confusion. Sir, hash include is a header file. No, hash include is a preprocessor directive. It is not a header file. Only these stdio.h, mat.h, stdlib.h, string.h, these are called as header files, and these are predefined header files. They are already present in the compiler. Now like such files, user can create his own header files, right? So are you clear on this part? Are we good to go? These are instructions to compiler, right? There are two ways of using it. One is angular bracket, another one is double quote. Okay, and .h files are called as header files. .h files are called as header files. Okay, now next part. So there is another one basic, another basic preprocessor directive is there, that is called as hash define, hash define. So basically this hash define is another type of preprocessor directive. It is used for, it is used for defining constants, defining constants, right? Constant means fixed values. It is used for defining constants. Okay, let us see the syntax of writing hash define. Let us see the syntax of defining, right? Syntax of defining. Okay, syntax for defining the constant, right? So syntax for defining a constant is hash define followed by macro name followed by macro value, followed by macro value. Okay, hash define followed by macro name followed by macro value. So here first of all we need to understand that, right, these are called as macros or constants. These are called as macros or constants. Okay, for example, let us take one example here. Okay, I'll take one example. Okay, so hash define followed by macro name, right, followed by macro value. I am taking one example here. So what is a macro name? My macro name is pi, right? My macro name is pi, and this is called as macro value. This is called as macro value. Now let us take one example, right? So let us take one example and understand these things better. I'll just take one simple example to make you guys understand. Okay. Now let us take one example as calculate area of circle. Area of circle. Okay, area of circle. So area of circle, everybody knows that it is pi r square. Okay, now let me write a very basic example. Hash include, right, stdio.h, right, header file. Now int main. Okay, now I want to define pi value as constant, because see, don't you think pi value is fixed always? Pi value, that is 3.1415927, something like that. It is always fixed, it will never change. So what I will do is I will define the pi value as hash define followed by pi followed by 3.1415. So I am defining pi value as a macro or a constant, because pi value will always remain fixed. It won't change. Now, if I want to calculate area of a circle, I will take one variable as float. Float, I'll declare a variable called as area. And area is equal to, right, pi multiplied by 9.0 multiplied by 9.0. Let us assume this 9.0 is a radius of circle. Let us assume, I am directly assuming. Okay, instead of declare a variable, store the value into r, then use r here, I am directly writing a value there. Let us assume, right, this, right, okay, 9.0 as a radius. Now if you look at how does the explanation, right, if you look at how does this expression will be executed. Now as I've told you that preprocessor directives are executed only during compile time. If you want to execute this expression, right, here first pi is replaced by 3.14, and then multiplication will occur. Multiplication occurs. Are you understanding? So first what will happen, if I want to do the multiplication, first I have to put the value of pi. So what you need to understand from this is, right, macros are replaced by its values during compile time. You know that preprocessor directives work at compile time, right? So You need to understand about these macros as macros are replaced by its values during compile time. So second point is macros are only replaced by its values during compile time. During compile time, right? So this is what you need to understand. We cannot do the multiplication during compile time. Multiplication happens only during runtime. We have discussed about those things here, right? Multiplication happens or addition and subtraction. All these operation will occur during runtime, but only to convert the program, right, from high level to low level, right? In other words, you can say that I can write one more statement here, right? I can write one more statement. What is the meaning of compile time? Preparing preparing program preparing program for execution. So to execute a program, right, there are a lot of things we will write in a program. For example, we will write comment, we will write macros, lot of things will be there. Now, do you think program will execute if comments are written are present in the program? No, it will never execute. So during compile time we will remove the comments from the program, so that at machine level comments are not present there, because machine cannot understand english. So remember that macros are only replaced by its values during compile time. I've written an example on this side. Okay. Okay. Now apart from this, you need to also understand that, right, as we have already discussed that macros are, or these are called as constants. If I try to change the pi value, pi plus plus, compiler will throw me an error. Why? Because macros are constants. So they are fixed value. Once you define macros here, macro name with a macro value, they are fixed, you cannot change its value, right? So that is the another point that you need to understand. Okay. Second one is macros are constants. We have already written there above, right? Okay, macros are constants, value cannot be changed. Now I have a small question just to understand. Have you guys come across with something like, in mathematics, have you come across with f of x is equal to 2x plus 1? What is f of 4? Right? Have you come across with these kind of expressions in mathematics? Yes, Sanjana. I'll come to that point, Sanjana. Okay. Now, I'll explain that, Sanjana. Now, in mathematics, have you come across with these kind of things? Right? How do you solve it? We will substitute 4 in place of x and we will solve the entire expression and get the result. Now, similarly, in C language, you can create these kind of functions, which we call them as, right, macro functions, you can create macro functions, right? You can create macro functions. Let us take an example and understand this, right? So I want to create one macro function, for example hash define, right, followed by f of y followed by y star y. Okay, so if you write f of y, it will become y star y. Now I'm writing one simple expression, int main. Inside this I will declare one variable int I. Okay, I is equal to 64 divided by f of 4. Now you need to find out what is the value of I. Can you tell me what is the result or the value present in I variable? Come up with an answer for that I. Find out what is I value. It is replaced by y star y. Okay. So we are getting one option as 4. One of our friend has responded as the answer as 4. What about others? Come on, dude. Give a try. It is okay to get a wrong answer. It is okay to get wrong answers. It is fine. It is okay to get wrong answers. You should try solving it. Substitute y value and get the answer. I've written it there, right? Substitute. Ah, yes, Manjari. So, like 3 people have responded. It is very good. Correct? See, everybody is coming, right? Now, remember the rules of macros. Okay. Now, first, whenever you execute a program, there are two things will happen. Whenever you run a program, there are two things will happen. First, what happens? Compilation. Once compilation is done, right, then execution happens. Correct? Okay, everybody knows this process, right? You will write a program, first you will compile it and then you will execute it. Correct? Now, look at this part. Look at this part. During currently we are in compilation. During compile time, this expression will become what does this expression will become during compile time? What does this expression will become during compile time? Let's see here. During compile time, this expression will become I is equal to 64 divided by 4 star 4, not 16. It becomes 4 star 4. You know that, right? I'll show you the rule. Read that point once. Read this second point, B. Macros are only replaced by its values during compile time. So do you think that we will do multiplication during compile time? Do you think that we do multiplication during compile time? Can we do multiplication during compile time or a division or any operation? Multiplication, division, addition, all these occur during runtime. Are you understanding? Is everybody understanding? So these multiplication, all these operation will occur during runtime. Currently we are in compilation. So during macros are executed during compile time. Are you understanding? Macros are executed during compile time. So if you look at it, macros are only replaced by its value. So we have replaced macros by its value. This is the expression we get during compile time. Now If you look at the priority of arithmetic operators, if you look at priority of arithmetic operator, multiplication and division have equal priority. ಎರಡಕ್ಕೂ ಸೇಮ್ priority, right? Multiplication and division have got equal priority. So whichever comes first, solve that first, right? Multiplication and division have got equal and same priority. Whichever comes first, evaluate that first. So if you look at this expression, the first operation we get is division. So if I have to solve that, the value I will get is 16. Now 16 multiplied by 4, what is the result do we get? This is the value printed by I. That is why I have told you, during compile time only replacing happens, not multiplication or addition or subtraction. All those operations, computational operation, occur during execution time. Program execute ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ that time, right? These addition, subtraction, logical operation, all these things will happen during execution time. Now can we execute this code and check whether it works or not? Have you understood? All of you, have you guys understood? Okay, superb, superb, well done, well done. So remember that during compile time, computations will not happen, right? During compile time, computations will not happen. So now I'll write down here hash define followed by macro function, which is nothing but y star y. Okay, now I'll write one code, same code which I had written. I is equal to 64 divided by f of 4. Okay, then print the I value here. I is equal to percentage d double quote comma I. Now if we execute this code, let's execute this code. See, are we getting 64 as answer? You can see it in the bottom here, correct? So please understand that during compile time, this expression first it will get converted to 64 divided by 4 star 4. It is not a whole divided by. In programming language, it's not a whole divided by. So first this operation will be calculated during runtime, and then multiplication is done, right? So I hope everybody has understood this. If you have understood, there is one of your friend has asked me a question, right, regarding difference between macros and constant keyword. Okay, we will discuss that also now. Okay, so what is the difference between constant keyword and macros? So I'm going for the next subtopic, a question thrown by one of your friend. Okay, so here difference between macros and constants, constant keyword. Okay, so constant keyword. See, let us take an example here. Hash define followed by max is 10. Okay, and I'll take here an example here, right? Int, sorry, constant keyword followed by int I is equal to 5. Okay, these are the two things I have. Now in this one, right, this max, right, this max, it is called as a macro name, macro name, and it does not have a memory. It does not have memory. It does not have a memory. There is no memory allocated for max. There is no memory allocated for the max. They work like a label. They work like label. They work like label. Wherever max is present in the program, if in my program, if there is a max like this in my program, first it will be replaced by its value. Only replacing happens. These macros do not have a memory. They work like a label, just like a sticker, right, or a nameplate, like that. But when you come to this constant, this side constant, I am declaring a variable called as I. First of all, there is a memory allocated for I variable, and the value is stored inside this value. What is present in the I memory, that you are defining it as constant. The only difference is, right, only difference is this I is having a memory, but whereas max does not have a memory. This is a difference between, right, what you call, uh, sorry, I'll write down here. I has memory. I has memory. This is one difference. Okay. Another difference is the macros, they work during compile time. They work during compile time. One second. I'm just, they work during compile time. Okay. But whereas these variable substituting of I value in the any expression, suppose if you have something like area is equal to I multiplied by I, so first we need to substitute the value of I, but this substitution of I value happens, right, during runtime. They work during runtime. That's a difference between these two, right? So first of all, macros do not have a memory. Constant variables have a memory. Are you getting my point? And macros work during compile time, and the variables are substituted with respective value during runtime. So is everybody understood this both the preprocessor directives? No, it is not like which one is good to use, right? Since these has defined works during compile time, it is faster in computation, right? Computation, it is faster in computation. In the execution, it will increase the execution time. But these will, what will happen is, they are better during compilation. Generally we use, or we prefer hash defined macros work better compared to constant keyword. We always prefer defining it as a macros rather than a constant variable. Are you clear, Sanjana? Okay, so everybody is clear now. Any doubts you have? I'll upload this video. I have recorded today's session. I'll upload the video and notes in some time. Okay. So we will call off for the day. By tomorrow, we will finish that structure of C program, as well as, if possible, we'll finish working execution flow of a program. That also we'll finish. Once we finish with that, then we'll come across with managing input output statements. If we finish that, then the major boring part, theoretical part is done. Okay.